Hi, students. This video is to explain the concept of assimilation to you. Um, you should read the link to the entry for assimilation in a Britannica Academic, which is on the same page as this video. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about why assimilation is controversial. So assimilation is basically the process by which somebody adjusts to the values and the sort of cultural conventions of a dominant culture. So in our country, the United States, what that often meant was immigrants. For example, my grandparents or my great-grandparents actually on my dad's side came to the United States from Hungary, and they were Jewish at a time when there was a fair amount of anti-Jewishness, also called anti-Semitism, in this country. And when they came to Ellis Island, which is where immigrants were processed in New York, their Hungarian name was replaced with Breyer, a name that the people at Ellis Island said would be easier for Americans to pronounce. And my father's parents were very focused on assimilation. They didn't tell people they were Jewish. My grandmother dyed her dark hair blonde. They didn't want to, at the time in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when my father was growing up, they wanted to fit in with dominant American culture. And so that at the time, and probably still to this day in the United States, meant fitting in with European American culture, white American culture. And so even though my father's mother was Jewish, he never practiced Judaism. And I remember never went into a temple until my sister married a Jewish man, and her son, my father's grandson, had a bar mitzvah. So this kind of idea that immigrants should assimilate was very prevalent in maybe the 1920s through the 1960s. And then, and it was very kind of amplified by this idea of America as a melting pot, that we're all different colors and we come together in the United States and we all melt together and make one color. But in the late 60s, the 70s, and 80s, people started to question that ideal. And they started to say, well, you know, I'm Mexican American and I'm very proud of being from Mexico, and I don't want to lose my Mexican culture. I'm still going to celebrate my Mexican holidays and Mexican traditions, and I can still be American. And so people started to put forth the idea of America as a mosaic. So a mosaic is, you know, a picture that's made from little chips, tiles that are all different colors. And the idea was we can work together as a country. We can have one identity as a country, but we don't have to sacrifice our differences. We can use our differences to create that beautiful picture, and we can celebrate our differences and still be unified as a country. So in the McWilliams article, he refers to the tragedy of assimilation. So what I want you to think about in this discussion post is, what about assimilation might be tragic? What is lost when we try to fit in with the dominant culture? So yeah, that's what I'd like you to explore here.